pools are basically a way for you to handle batch processing of items, right? Exactly as you would have with a queue, or whenever your robot is processing data from a spreadsheet or from a database. But what does Datapool bring to you that you don't necessarily have on those tools, right? So you easily have all the management of those items, such as auto retry, protection against your queue drainage whenever you have errors or your system is offline, plus a couple of other features such as trigger of your tasks in the Bot City orchestrator and more. So to give you an example, here I have a very simple data pool that will allow me to process some items for zip codes. So the data pool will enable you to configure a couple of things here. So you can select the consumption policy. You can decide whether or not to automatically retry failed items. You can also enable the drainage protection with the abort on error, in which the data pool will automatically disable itself whenever a certain number of errors happen. And also you can decide whenever an item goes into a timeout state, right? So you can easily identify processes that are taking longer or are going to result in some problems. You can also choose between 3 options of triggers, such as always, in which the data pool will automatically create new tasks for a certain automation and every time that a new item is inserted. Or you can select also the no task active, in which data pool is going to be smart to check your task queue to see if you already have a task running or pending to be running whenever a new item is inserted. You can select the automation that's going to be triggered. And plus, data pools by nature, they are freeform. This means that you can select and include any sort of information that you want with any structure that you want. But we know that that's not necessarily how automations work. So we enable you to establish a schema. What is a schema? A schema is composed by a label and a type for the information that you want to add to the data pool. So this will ensure that your data is always in the expected format. Of course, you can add more fields if you would like at the time of creating a new item, but data pool will ensure that the items inserted in it will follow the predefined schema. So now let's see how data pool will work in real life. So here, this is the view of the data pool. It gives you an insight of your status, right? If it's active, how many items you have in progress, how many remaining, how many were processed with success or errors. You can manually create entries here, defining a priority for the processing. Plus, as we saw before, following the schema, here I have zip codes, right? Or you can also import files from a CSV. So here I can easily load a batch of items to be processed. And whenever I do this, the data pool will be populated with all the items that we selected in the spreadsheet, and a new task is going to be generated by the trigger and already start processing my items. So what is a very nice feature that we have from the data pool that we don't necessarily get from using a local spreadsheet file or anything like that, right? So here I have my USPS zip code lookup automation, and my data pool is processing all those items that I have here. So I have 56 items remaining. So now with Bot City, I can just simply create more tasks of the same automation and start parallelizing the consumption to my items here. So this one is being processed at one runner, and the other one, as you can see, is running another one here. So now I have parallelized consumption of those items and the performance gain, all automatically without changes.
So you can really speed up the same data pool, putting more runners as you want. You want to scale if you want to scale that.
Exactly. So you can easily start now multi-processing your data pool with ease, with all the retries and all the information being generated here. So Bot City Maestro Orchestrator takes care of the whole distribution of those items, handling the queue for you, and retries and all the other operations. So here you can see that's processing really fast. So we can click refresh here, and you can see the drainage of the queue and how the items are going so well. So data pool enables you to perform all this, and you can easily handle this in your automation. So if we look into the code, right, so how does this work, or how can I use data pool? So That's a very good point. Here we have a simple code snippet, right, for a data pool. It's not the same example, but I just want to show you that importing the Bot City Master SDK in your code base, you can create a data pool you can use a data pool by simply asking for the data pool object, so by the label, and then you can create new entries from your code base, as you saw me doing with the Excel file or the manual entry, but you can also do this via the API. And at the end, what really matters for the consumption of items is this loop here, which we ask, while the data pool has more items to be processed, I want to fetch the entry as being the next one available. And after that, I can report it as done or report as error. So we worked a lot on the API to make it as simple as possible. And you can have more information about this API directly from our documentation portal, in which we are going to cover all the explanation about data pool, how it works, and how to use the data pool with the Bot City Master SDK.